This video is sponsored by the NerdSync newsletter. Sign up today at nerdsyncnews.com. The X-Man Jean Grey has a habit of dying and coming back to life more often than Optimus Prime, though it is close. But you would expect it with a character named the Phoenix, constantly dying and being reborn from the ashes. And as much as I would love to give you a solid number for how many times Jean Grey has died, of course it's not that simple. There are retcons and alternate universes and time travel at play here. So, how many times has Jean Grey died? Well, depending on who you ask, it could be anywhere between 1 and 20 or so times. So, let's get into it. Before we get started into all this, let's stick with some rules first. We're going to be talking about just Earth 616 Jean Grey. That's the main Marvel universe. We're not talking about alternate Earths like from X-Men Omega or any movie cartoon Jean Grey deaths. We're also not going to be counting all the times that the Earth itself blew up or the universe just disappeared. I mean, this is Marvel. We're going to be here all day with that nonsense. No, we're talking strict Jean Grey specific deaths. Deal? Good, because I'm already going to slightly alter that deal. Keep in mind that some of these deaths, in invisible air quotes, aren't really deaths per se. It gets a little complicated, but I'll try to explain it as best as I can. So the first notable one comes to us in Uncanny X-Men number 100 from 1976. The X-Men went to a space station and beat up the mutant-hating Stephen Lang and his group of Sentinels that resemble the X-Men themselves. As the space station starts to crumble, the X-Men find that their ship is damaged, and also there's a solar flare, which means flying back to Earth is going to be a little bit tricky. They need to find a pilot who's willing to sacrifice themselves while everyone else is in the shielded life cell. But the only pilot who is available is also most likely going to die. So Jean Grey steps in and says, you know what, I'm going to take your memories as a pilot and also use my powers to shield myself, and I'm going to fly us all to safety while you guys are rested nicely in the shielded part of the ship. But of course Cyclops jumps in and is like, no, Jean, don't do that. Why would you do that? It's such a heroic thing. And Jean just kind of knocks him out because, you know, it's got to be done. Everyone says their goodbyes, some more heartfelt than others. They fly through the solar flare, they crash into water, and everyone is safe and sound. But where's Jean? Where is Jean Grey? Enter the Phoenix. That's why the cover says, Enter the Phoenix. So does this actually count as a death? Well, we'll get back to that later. But first, in Uncanny X-Men number 137 from 1980, we have our second air quote death. So some background here. The Phoenix had become the Dark Phoenix and previously set off a massive space explosion that killed countless lives. The Shi'ar princess Lilandra, I don't know, decided that the Phoenix must die. And that's why the cover says Phoenix must die. Professor X steps in and challenges Lilandra to a duel, the X-Men versus the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, on a fight on the moon. During the battle, Jean loses control and actually starts to succumb to the Phoenix Force once more. And in order to save everyone from that horrible fate, Jean willingly steps into a trap, effectively committing suicide. There you go, we got 2 deaths already, off to a good start, except minor problem, apparently neither of those 2 count. In Fantastic Four number 286 from 1986, coincidence? I don't know, I just read it out loud for the first time. It was revealed that the Avengers found a stasis pod under the water where the ship crashed. Apparently, the Phoenix Force had put Jean into a stasis, and the Jean who had been wandering around was just some sort of Phoenix Force copy. So instead of 2 deaths, I think we're back at 0, or maybe 2 with little asterisks by it. I don't know. Here's a simple one. In Infinity Gauntlet number 1 from 1991, Thanos wanted to court Lady Death, so he snapped his fingers and killed half of the population of the entire Marvel universe. And we can see right here that Jean is among the many who were killed. But, obviously she got better. Next up, we have one from Uncanny X-Men number 281 from 1991. Once again, we have the Sentinels at play here, but this time a little bit more effective. Jean Grey was actually shot and killed by a few of them. but she did come back almost immediately and explained that she had actually transferred her brain into Emma Frost. So her body had died, technicality, even though her brain had survived. But not a whole lot of information was given on how she exactly came back to life. The writers kind of settled on the, I don't know, type of explanation. Also, Jean remarks that if she comes back from the dead one more time, she'll be seriously in danger of turning into some sort of walking cliche. And I'm sure you can see by the video timecode that we have lots more to discuss, so a walking cliche she shall become. But not for a few years, actually. New X-Men number 148 from 2003 shows the next time Jean Grey dies. I'd give you a little backstory here, but honestly, it's a bit out of our scope for this particular video. I covered some of these aspects in this video about the Weapons Plus program, and also this video about Professor X and how many times he's gotten paralyzed, so kind of watch those and maybe you'll understand this next part. But Magneto slash Zorn slash I don't even know who this character is trapped Jean Grey and Wolverine on an asteroid hurtling towards the sun. The two of them are quickly running out of air and the temperature is rising. Jean Grey is terrified about burning alive. This can't be the end for them, right? Well, unfortunately, it was. Seeing no way out, Wolverine stabs Jean Grey so that her death could be quick, and the two could go out in a literal blaze of glory. Then, surprise, surprise, the Phoenix Force shows up once more and heals Jean Grey while also rescuing Wolverine. So I guess everything's fine again. Oh, and a fun fact, Wolverine reveals in this issue that he can eat his own flesh indefinitely to survive. And I'm really trying to figure out the science behind that one. But that's besides the point. Jean Grey is back. She's alive. She only died for a couple seconds that time. But just 2 issues later, in New X-Men number 150, Magneto slash Zorn slash who knows at this point, uses his power to give Jean Grey a planetary scale stroke. Jean's last words, her dying breath, was a message to Cyclops saying, "All I ever did was die on you." Which is, I mean, in this case, pretty accurate. But also, Wolverine cuts off Zorn's head, so it's all fine. Alright, so these next ones maybe don't count, but really most of the ones on this list probably don't count either. This comes from Phoenix Endsong number 3 from 2005. And honestly, I just want to talk about it because I think it's funny. So the Phoenix Force once again brings Jean Grey back to life, and Jean feels that she's losing control, so she asks Wolverine to kill her in order to weaken the Phoenix enough so that Jean could once again regain control. What ensues is a montage of Wolverine stabbing and killing Phoenix at least 6 times in 2 pages. And again, it is a montage, so for all we know, it could be more than 6 times. We just only see it 6 times. And afterwards, Jean Grey does come back to life and regains just enough control to kill herself yet again by freezing herself in a glacier. But if we've learned anything from this whole video, we know that she'll come back almost immediately thanks to the Phoenix Force, but later just kind of disappears into the ether. And that's basically it. I think. I don't know. There could be definitely more that I missed. Let me know if I did in the comments down below. And also while you're down there, let me know if you think any of these count as actual deaths. I don't know. Maybe it's a misconception and Jean Grey doesn't actually die as often as we think. Oh, and just so you know, we are starting a NerdSync newsletter called the Sunday Sync Up, where you can check out all the news and updates and announcements and stuff you may have missed from NerdSync. So if that's something you guys want to check out, which I highly recommend that you do, go to nerdsyncnews.com and sign up. The first one will be happening this Sunday, so don't miss it. We'll also make an announcement video on Saturday to explain more info about it if you're interested. And while you're here, why not go check out those other 2 X-Men videos that I talked about in the video, like this one about the Weapon Plus program. So we know that Wolverine is Weapon 10, but who are the other 9 weapons, and are there more past him? Spoilers, there are. They're weird. Go check it out. And also, you can see this video right here all about the many times Professor X has become paralyzed and able to walk again, and then paralyzed, and it's a never-ending cycle of craziness
click here to check that one out as well. And links to both of these will also be in the description below. And if this is your first time hanging out with us here at NerdSync, please do hit that big sexy subscribe button so you don't miss out on all the new videos we make for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that explore the history, science, philosophy, and art behind your favorite comic book superheroes. My name is Scott, reminding you to read between the panels and grow smarter through comics. See ya.